And here we are, live for another week of the Bogus Hangout. As ever, we have no idea what we're going to talk about yet, but we always have fun finding out. That's part of the journey. That's part of the fun. Joining us this week, we have Kristin off camera, Terry with his camera ignoring him, Bill is there, and Dawn is here for the first visit to the Bogus Hangout. So. Where we will go from here is anyone's guess. We will see what happens, but I'm going to kick off in the traditional sense because, Bill, what have you been up to this week?
Not unusually. I've been reading through patents, and today was a patent day. There's some new ones, and Google acquired one that involves people tailgating autonomous cars. And I was wondering if there were any accidents with self-driving cars at Google with people tailgating one of the cars.
There must be.
It's possible. There was one that supposedly came out. I haven't seen it. I haven't hunted it down. That involved school buses and watching out for school buses. There was supposed to be a patent on that one, and Google did have an accident where the self-driving car hit a school bus, and the timing on the patent was really good. So that's why I was wondering whether or not Google, one of these Google cars hit somebody else who might have been tailgating them.
It's bound to happen. I'm not sure if they're tailgating you that you've hit them. Let's face it. I don't think that is the way it works. Unless you're reversing, whoever's in the back is at fault. It's a bit
well,
like
maybe if you stop and somebody goes into the back of you, who's at fault? They're at fault, aren't they? Yeah, they're at fault.
Unless you're on the motorway, yeah, they're at fault. Stopping distances, there's a reason we have them.
Yeah, but I should imagine that even if somebody goes into the back of them, they're probably going to want to take that into consideration as a possibility of human error, because humans are pretty well. I'm a bad driver, so maybe they're just looking to cover all the bases all of the time.
Well, the patent says stuff like it might keep an eye on other drivers, and if they start getting too close, it might try to maintain an appropriate distance from them.
Yeah, so maybe that they're just covering themselves all over the place, really.
Yeah.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
I remember one of those exercises at school. We were reading through insurance claims, some of the howlers from insurance claims. The things people have actually written in their insurance claims, like, I had to swerve several times before I hit him.
Oh, God. Oh, dear. God.
Then I hit a car, a stationary vehicle coming the other way.
Wow. I saw a video, actually. I was at an event at the university near me not so long ago that was... it was actually an event that it was a fundraiser, but it was kind of held by somebody who works with Google, one of the agency managers in Manchester here. It was called Inside Google, and they were just showing us what the future will look like with driverless cars everywhere, and it was unbelievable. It was literally like dodgem cars, just literally missing each other by millimeters, but all knowing exactly where the other cars were. So it was absolutely crazy. Yeah, it's quite scary, but I'm kind of all for it if it does take away that human error element. I know that I'm a bad driver, and sometimes I'm driving along and I think, oh my God, if just one person here made a mistake, it's devastating, isn't it? Really, what can happen? So
I just like the idea of a cheap chauffeur, so that I either be doing some work in the back or having a nap, I can go out drinking and the car will get me home.
Yeah. taxi you home. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it'll be like that car off Roger Rabbit. You just stick your thumb out and it just turns up.
They've certainly been looking at that kind of idea, at ways of having these serve as public transport, and Google's been looking at quite a few different things to do with public transport. They've just had a competition as well, haven't they, Bill, to see which city they're going to be developing a new transport platform for.
I'm not sure they're trying to pick between cities. They've been testing cars in Austin, Texas, and I think in Portland.
They're coming to the UK, aren't they?
Aren't they? Yes, they've brought some cars over to the UK to test.
Yeah. But I think partly it's all about getting acceptance for the vehicles ahead of time. After all, when they do finally launch if they get this developed to a point where it's a good product to launch, the last thing they want is to then start having to do years of tests and proof of concepts with the governments to get it approved.
Right.
Yeah.
I think to an extent they want all governments used to the idea of these cars and seeing these cars in action before they are commercially viable.
But haven't they said also that they're not going to make them commercially available until they are safer than a human in terms of driving? Yeah.
It's not much of a threshold.
Yeah. Yeah.
It isn't.
I mean, they probably are safer than most humans now already. But I suppose they have to just
They've got no product if they're not safer than humans. What are you buying if it's not?
I know, what would be the point? There'd be no viability to it whatsoever. But they probably are safer than the majority of the humans I know that drive in any event already. So yeah, no, it's I mean, we're kind of all in the world of technology. We work on the internet, so we lap all these kind of things up, but I think the average Joe on the street is going to take maybe a little bit more convincing, that because it's very futuristic, isn't it, really, in their minds?
I don't know. If you're a Londoner, you've been driven around by robots for decades. The entire Victoria line of the Underground hasn't had a train driver driving the trains.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realise that. But it's on a straight. It's the fact that it's on a rail, isn't it? It's on a rail. So these are kind of without rails. I think that's it's a bit more worrying for me that
they're on rails, but you've got. Yeah. Trains going through the pitch black tunnels at 70 miles an hour, and they all have to stop at stations for indeterminate amounts of time as people get on and off. So they do
I didn't realise that. Yeah, I didn't realise that.
But
I'll remember that the next time I'm on the Underground.
The whole system is controlled by one computer. It drives all of the trains at the same time.
Wow, God.
That's why no human is allowed to actually drive on that line.
Really? Interesting.
They still have trained drivers because people used to panic.
Really?
There was a big memo went through to the drivers: please stop reading your newspapers or dozing, because that's panicking the people at the platforms. When the train comes in,
I suppose it's kind of like autopilot, though, isn't it? Really? It's only the same concept, autopilot.
It's one of the safest lines of them all.
Really? Yeah. Hi.
Hey, Grant. How you doing?
Hi.
No sound. We can't hear you at all. It's not a bad thing. Stay like it. No. Have a look in the little control drop down, see what mic it's got selected. Sometimes it's got one that you haven't even got plugged in right now. If you hover over the video, pick the cog icon to go to the settings, check it's using the right mic.
Is Darren joining us? I think I saw Darren just message before there somewhere.
He sometimes does, sometimes doesn't. It depends whether we can get in on the day as well.
He told me just like in Twitter, like 20 minutes before I set the thing up that he was coming.
Oh, is he coming? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Now, Bill, I know one thing you've been spending a lot of time on this week is thinking about a very special woman in your life. Is Bill frozen? Uh-oh. No, still can't hear you, Grant. You can tell he worked with technology for a living. Yeah, we've lost Bill. I'm sure he will be back.
I think Darren's popping the odd comment on there. What's he saying? Hold on.
Yeah, I wanted to sing happy birthday to both he and Darren, to Bill and Darren, because
no singing. No singing.
I promised. I promised in my post.
No.
Can you hear me? No.
No.
Where did Terry go?
Have a look at the bit on the address bar, because if you're in Chrome, sometimes you've got the thing there. Check that it's again picking up your mic. It's as if you don't have a mic. There's no sound. It's not that it's quiet. There's nothing.
He's laughing though.
Yeah, we don't know if Terry's there. We presume he is. Yeah.
This is very unconferencey. It's like an unconference.
Yeah. There we go.
Now,
so this is your first time on Hangouts?
I think I heard something then.
Is this your first time on Hangouts, John? I missed that.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I've been on Hangouts before. I've joined Webmaster Hangouts a couple of times.
Yeah.
And they're always good. I like them. And I've been a couple of years ago, as SEO changed, I started off on embarking on just trying to expand on just understanding of the different channels and stuff. And I did the Google Squared course, and part of that was everybody had to do Hangouts, group Hangouts. So that was good, yeah. Working as a team via Hangouts, that was pretty interesting, especially when you didn't know anybody.
Yeah, I didn't even know the Hangout Squared course.
Someone that's speaking. Yeah. Tell Grant we can hear him now.
We can hear you.
You can hear me now.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Hold on, I'll have to get closer to the microphone.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go.
How high tech is this?
Yeah.
Please try the veal.
Try the veal.
Yeah.
I'm quite confused, Grant. Where are you from originally, Grant?
From Yorkshire, lass.
All right, so not far from me then.
No, I'm joking. I'm from Essex. But we're cheeky.
I'm confused because obviously you're not living in Essex now because it's glorious sunshine streaming through your window.
That is
He's
true.
not even in the UK anymore. I mean,
No.
I'm in lovely Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, nice, lovely.
Yeah, it's about 65 degrees today, but lovely. Looking out over the water, just enjoying life, the world, and everything.
Lovely.
Lovely.
How's that been on the family? You know, what's been the big change in changing culture? Or were they born over there?
Oh, my kids were born here, so they are totally spoilt Americans.
Oh, God.
And, yeah, so it's been interesting. And my ex-wife is American. Oh, there you go. It suddenly went really quiet again. Testing. Hello.
Don't worry. We're just thinking of the idea of moving to the same country your ex-wife is in, instead of moving away, which is what most of us do.
Yeah. I've been in America longer than I've been in England. So,
how long have you been there?
23 years.
Oh
wow.
Gosh, yeah, you still got quite a strong Essex accent, haven't you?
Yeah, he obviously keeps it. It's a fake thing now. It's like that other pretentious guy. Who's that other guy who puts on? He's British, but he puts on this American accent. Oh. Stephen Hawking.
What?
Who?
Stephen Hawking. That guy. So
not Stephen Hawking. No, not Stephen Hawking.
You're talking about the guy that does House.
No, I'm on about a British guy with an American accent. Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
You mean?
They'll get it in a minute, Terry. Don't worry.
Oh, that's awful. That is just how inappropriate.
You're welcome.
I'm just really surprised that you still got quite a strong accent there, Grant. Really.
Why, thank you, and you too.
Well, I still live here, so
you also,
that will be why.
It's also really good.
I still live in Lancashire, so yeah.
No, it's really good the way your lips move, and then 3 minutes later, I hear what you're saying.
Well, you're the same, so.
Oh, okay,
there
good.
you go, right back at you, really.
Good. Well, I think we're connected on Twitter now, so we're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aye. Yes.
Okay.
Aye.
Yeah.
Must have all the legs. Great. So what are we talking about this week, Ammon? Nothing.
Dawn's had a busy week because you had that little bit of a run, didn't you? The links.
God, yeah.
Go to get chocolate.
Yeah. Well, last year, I always for the past 3 years, I decided to adopt these annual themes. It takes me quite a long time to get into new habits, and the first year was like my year of learning when Penguin came, and I thought I better just brush up on a few additional skills here. So that's when I did all the courses and so on. And then the year after, I did a year of networking. I went absolutely crazy. I went to loads of things, but just everywhere. And then this year, I just thought I better get myself fit again after the year of networking and detox myself a bit. So I started calling it my year of health and fitness. So I started signing up for Lakeland Trails runs in the Lake District. Oh, and I did my first one the other day, and it was just terrific.
What was the distance?
10K. What's that? It was 10K.
Yeah, 10K run.
10K is 6.2 miles. There you go.
Yeah, but do you know what? It's not like a normal 10K when you do a Lakeland Trails. It's through mud, it's up hills, it's through forests. It's like you've got to have proper trail running shoes.
So is it like hills and dales, a host of golden daffodils?
No, it's not, because it's just terrific. I mean, you've got people there holding themselves up with sticks, pushing themselves up the hill with sticks. And I mean, some people actually do these massive endurance, ultimate trail runs that are 110 kilometres. Imagine that, 110 kilometres.
We've got mates in California, they're doing 100K ultra marathons. That's
the same thing, yeah. That's what they call them. They call them the ultras, and they do it in the Lake District. Near Helvellyn, I think they do it. Anyway, even though it was horrific, I've signed up for another 7 this year. So
yeah,
but I do because I put weight on really easily.
What people don't
put weight on really easily. So
you only did that run because there was chocolate at the end of it.
Yeah, I went to the chocolate festival in Ramsbottom on the way back. So yeah, and then I still managed to put weight on the day after when I weighed myself. How can that be?
Obviously, you enjoyed too much of the chocolate, but you know what they say: muscle weighs more than fat. So.
Oh yeah, I think somebody said that to me on Twitter, but I think I've rinsed that. I think I've rinsed that excuse for long enough now.
And the more jiggly it gets, the stronger the muscle is, right?
Is that what they said? Right, okay, fair enough. But no, it's good, yeah. But country pub food. I mean, I don't know whether. Have you been to the Lake District, Grant and Ammon?
I have actually.
Yep.
I've been Keswick and and the other place, Coniston, and some other places. Bits.
Yeah, it's some really, really lovely places there. So if anybody ever goes to the UK, then who's not from here, you should look up the Lake District. It's they're really gorgeous areas.
I actually worked for
nature.
I worked for a company in Lancashire for a while.
All right.
But it has to be said, if you are from Arizona, sunny LA, something like that, you will feel like a polar explorer going to see the Lake District.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. It's it's quite brisk or breezy, as they say. But it's nice. I mean, we stayed in a farmhouse, and because we have to fight. Well, I've decided that the Lakeland Trail weekends, they're like an excuse for me to take my dog on holiday, because my dog hadn't been on holiday at all, so this was her first trip away. So we had to find dog-friendly accommodation, and this farm lets dogs stay there, and she just was out there with the horses and the sheep and ducks going past and hens going past, and she just loved it. So yeah, it's really nice.
Cool.
I do love it.
It's one of those things, you know, the little animals can sometimes really get in the way of holidays and
yeah.
Well, the sheep poop in the hills and vales of the Lake District was always a challenge for the hiking.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cup of tea.
I used to do quite a bit of hiking in Scotland because I love the countryside up there. But that is, it's more like fell walking. It really is. You know, there's a lot of scrambling but it's gorgeous.
Yeah. No, Scotland's beautiful as well. Well, next stop after Lake District is Scotland, isn't it? So,
pretty much.
It's not that far from me. You know, it's like I think it took us an hour and a half, if that, to get there. So, you know, yeah.
What stuns me is that we have techie people talking about fitness, because generally we're the people that never go outside.
But you've got to do it. I mean, you know, the thing is, we sit on our backsides all day long, don't we? So
last year I did the same as Dawn. I said, right, I'm going to do a year of fitness. And I absolutely stuck with it. Every week I would watch a different fitness video.
Well, and anymore these days, it's becoming part of our job, right? We need to be able to talk to customers that have Fitbit.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading earlier this week that, of course, they've now done a whole load of studies on standing desks and initiatives to get people to sit less at work. And they're not effective. There's no demonstrable benefit to them yet. They found that, if they combined it with counselling, the availability of standing desks and counselling about spending less time sitting down, people would spend less time sitting down. But they did just as much in the evening. You weren't spending enough time off your backside to change the overall effects of a sedentary lifestyle.
Well, just changing planes doesn't do anything. You need to have aerobic activity. You need to have circulation.
You need to bounce.
Yes.
Yeah, some cardiovascular stuff. Cardiovascular stuff.
They were including the treadmill desks.
Yeah, they've got those that look like little hamster wheels, haven't they? You know, like you're in a hamster wheel.
I just like you're doing it with you doing it.
We should just do this once everyone else joins. It's great.
You could just leave the car at home and walk to work.
Unless you work from home, then you're a bit knackered.
Yeah, I have a 200-yard walk to work. It's not exactly highly physical.
Right.
I was pregnant, and the only transportation I had was my bicycle, because there was no mass transportation in our town. And people would beg me to not get on my bike, and I'm like, I am a dancer, and I've been on this bike every single day. My doctor has no problem with it. Why do you?
Man.
But people, they're just, As long as you're
same
doing
problem
it for
when he was
yourself, but
pregnant
if you're
as
doing
well.
it for someone else, like as part of an initiative, I think that takes away motivation as well.
Well, it's nothing worse than being told what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when it's your own health. I think that's the same. Like I was saying, Ammon had the same problem when he was pregnant.
Yep.
Wow, an Ammon story I haven't heard.
They still don't let him on bikes. Anyway.
Actually, I did used to cycle to work for a while, but then we had another guy.
Darren.
I was working in Worthing at the time, and we had a guy cycling in from Brighton. And I thought, it's competition now. Here's me doing a 30-minute cycle. He's doing an hour and a half every day. So, yeah. That I thought was
Darren's
crazy.
here. Hey,
Hey,
Darren.
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 I think Bill's coming back.
Yay, we have both birthday boys before anything happens to anyone's connection. Shall we sing?
No.
God.
Oh, yeah.
You really don't want to hear me sing.
I'll join in once you're
Yeah.
done.
Well, Hangouts will only let one person do it at a time. So, Kristin, if you really want to sing, it's you.
No, that's not true because Sarah and I have sang to people.
Oh, you don't want to hear me sing at all, ever. It's bad.
I'm just going to bounce.
Okay, we will bounce to the tune of Happy Birthday.
It must have been a very thoughtful week for you, Bill, because I know, of course, you've been looking back a lot and thinking of your mother a lot this week. And, of course, birthdays, I always find are a time that are very reflective anyway. I don't know if you get the same thing about birthdays. But it must have been a very interesting week for introspection.
It's been an odd week. I'm flying out east tomorrow to get up like 3:30 in the morning to make it to the airport for a flight that leaves at 6:15, and headed to New Jersey for 3 days.
Yeah. I must admit, I adored that picture that you shared on Facebook. I couldn't find it. I was going to actually put that as my background today. But your mother sat on that bar.
Right.
I was going to ask, are we friends to the point at which I can say, Bill, your mum was hot? I've frozen him. Either that or he's terribly shocked. Hopefully he'll be back again in a moment. He's having real trouble with his modem, it seems. Darren, it's usually you having the technical hitches. How are you doing, my friend?
He is.
Like that.
He's got. It clearly still is him having the technical hitches because he's just done one.
Yeah, he seems to struggle with Hangouts, but this is the problem. Darren, as long as you keep giving up, your browser is always having these
Poor
problems.
Darren.
Every time you start Chrome, start Hangouts, it's downloading a load of software. If you're not doing this regularly,
No sound. Oh,
it can be a real
poor
pain.
Darren. Oh.
Well, he had sound before, so we know it's fully possible.
Yeah. I always find, if I get any problems with, I log in half an hour before a show starts to check all these things. Any problems, shut the computer down, restart everything, including Chrome, and 90% of the time.
I've even found that a half hour is not long enough. Like if you're the one that's like hosting, I don't think it's long enough because if you're having issues, then you're likely to run into problems with your guests having issues, and you need to keep that half hour open to allow that to help them get over the things that you're experiencing.
You'd think that, but as you know, in this show, I'm lucky if half the guests are here 5 minutes before we go live. So it's not like they're missing out on testing time if I have to spend an extra 15 minutes. I'm still going to be 10 minutes ahead of everybody else.
You know what? I think I decided this week, I've had this thought before, but I concluded now that I like being the one to set it up because then I could be like, I did this and now I'm going to go get dressed and but I've already, done a portion of it, and so like it feels like I'm a good girl.
Yes.
You're a good girl.
Of course, you haven't been pulling up any comments, so I mean, you know, we've got no idea who's watching what they're doing.
Okay, so I've been doing side stuff trying to figure out connections with people. So now I shall bring up comments.
I've no clue how to see the comments, so people could be saying
There's a comment
anything.
tracker built into Hangouts, and you.
All right, I
URLs
can
of
see
people
on the
hearing.
group. I can see the group chat, but that's all I can see. To be fair.
You don't need to worry about it. We usually pull them up onto screen whenever there's anything. But because I didn't set up this week, there we go. Happy birthday, Bill. So it's been a tough week for Bill.
John Miller.
Oh, John.
God, I don't know why John isn't in here, but maybe he wasn't invited.
Oh, Paula's here too.
Fling him an invite. And it's about time that we put the link out, actually. So let me quickly put that.
Yeah, where's Tony? Tony's.
I know.
Grant.
Yo. What?
I'm not even reading that.
Oh, come on. It's a good bollocks. I get away with a lot more in America than I do there.
Trust the cheeky southerner to be.
Oh, come. That's not true at all.
That's the American influence on him, because you know.
That's true.
From
It's amazing what we get away with here, by the way. Anyway, do we have any talking points this week, Ammon, as far as anything happened to you in the search world?
We ought to be doing some of that, but I sort of have been waiting for Bill to. Yes, we can hear you. We can spell here HEAR.
Oh yeah, you know that's funny. Oh god.
So a quick copywriting course there.
That's okay.
It's yes. It's been an interesting week. Finally, people are starting to talk a bit of sense about rank brain, which has been good.
Oh, you see David Harry pull something together?
Yes, and we were talking about it last week as well on his show, which Terry and David now started up again, doing their week in SEO.
And I'm the third wheel again. Just kidding, not third wheel.
Fourth wheel.
Kristin Drysdale, stabilizer.
Oh, I like that. Like,
Yeah, there looks to have been quite a few debates going on around rank brain this past
But
week,
at
so,
least
yeah.
some people are starting to talk, because for a while it was like everyone was talking complete nonsense about it. You know, every single thing was being said to be rank brain. Every change, every fluctuation in rank was rank brain.
I think maybe the name. I think maybe the name is what causes quite a lot of the confusion.
Yes.
You know, rather than people thinking, well, actually, it's the brain that is being fed with all the classifications and the queries and the entities and the understanding this relates to this and this thing is to do with that. And eventually, they'll be used to potentially output or things. I just think people assume that because it's got the word rank in it, that it literally is a massive part of the ranking engine as such. I think that's where the confusion is.
So what would you call it if you could call it something else?
Right. Oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, end brain or
what's that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Classifier brain or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even that's not quite how it's
classifier. If you like, I don't know. David and I were talking this morning, and he showed me some numbers he found in some research. To do that research, they use 6 billion pages. So basically, they looked at all these pages and found the bigger the record set, the more exact it was. So basically, they're classifying certain context to some degree with it.
I can't hear you very well, Terry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think
I don't have a real microphone, so that might be the problem.
That could be it.
Well, you're basically saying it's basically a better series of classification based on a larger data set. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also probably
it's
better
just,
connections between classifications as well.
Yeah, and just building out the huge database of like training data, I suppose.
Well, my biggest takeaway so far from going through most of the patents is that RankBrain is doing something a little bit different. Hummingbird brought to the fore this idea of looking for synonyms, looking for meanings of words. And it started to look a little bit at words put together, but I don't think it was doing enough of it. And it highlighted, especially as you start throwing in synonyms, you start to get things that come out a bit like those really bad translations. You know that one?
Yeah, like Google Translate when you just
nursery rhymes into a translation computer.
Yeah.
And I think they translated a nursery rhyme from English to Russian, and then from Russian to French and French to English. And the line, "Pop goes the weasel," came back, "a small furry animal explodes." It's technically right, but it's not right. And that's, I think, the kind of amplification that Hummingbird brought to the fore. That as it was looking for alternate words that mean the same thing, it was actually coming up with more nonsense connections. So RankBrain looks at where these words are used together and tries to get a sense of what the sentence means instead of just what the words mean.
So can I simplify it, because I'm a simple guy?
Yeah.
There's ways that Google can better understand the query. That's one side of the equation. There's ways that they can better understand content. That's another part of the equation. And then how they meet together, how you can match something that makes sense to one from the other, is a third part of the equation, yeah? So RankBrain is part of the understanding of both the content and the query. Is that fair?
I would disagree and say they're actually...
Oh, that's good. No, I was throwing that out there as a question.
Gary,
And maybe the
Gary
context as well. Maybe the context of a query as well as content of a query. So if somebody is in an area and a query comes in, maybe it can mean something different. Maybe it's around trying to understand things around immediacy, you know, now, near, proximity, don't know, that kind of thing. Context and content.
Well,
Context.
When we talk about Google, Google is certainly doing that. But is that part RankBrain?
Well,
RankBrain. The big problem I have with the algorithms is that people keep getting names of small pieces, and it's a bit like we've got all of these components of a car, and we've learned the words exhaust pipe, ashtray, windscreen wiper, and then you've got SEOs who are saying basically a site has a problem. Well, it's not the windscreen wiper, so it must be the ashtray, because they're just throwing out these words without actually understanding.
That absolutely.
Two parts out of thousands.
Yeah. Do you know what? I just think? Ultimately, you just gotta work to try and build a better experience for people, and I think that all the rest of it, really, to a large extent, is, you know, we can all sort of bicker and argue all day long again about this means this and that means that, but if we kind of just look to build the best experience for people.
But it still has to come down to, I agree, but it still has to come down to, can Google understand a query better? All right, that is a big component of, you know, Hummingbird and certainly understand queries they haven't seen in RankBrain and stuff like that. Because if they don't understand what we're asking, then anything they present is going to suck. So I think that's the one big.
I think they are starting to understand what we're asking. Very much so.
Yeah,
definitely. Oh, it's definitely better than when we all started in the business. I mean, and it's definitely harder to rank than when we started in the business, because there's innuendos in what people are asking, and there's innuendos in what Google understands from a content standpoint as well. When I say content as well, Terry, to your point, understanding includes context, intent, includes words they've never seen, heard, or anything else, because that is human understanding of a conversation.
Right, but that's how the machine learning helps. It can look at such a big, so many documents with those words in different contexts. It starts to learn what the words in that context mean, which means it can then understand queries better. And in the end, it's all about voice search anyhow. This is now, but if you're looking to the future, it's all to solve voice search. That's where Google's really going. Because pretty soon, we won't have these big machines on our desks. We'll have phones or some other, whatever.
Well, consideration.
Microphones.
One of the big considerations at the moment is in the UK, they're now looking at the idea of having for landlines. Internet is bundled with a telephone. You have to have a telephone line, whether or not you want a telephone line, in order to get broadband.
Yeah.
But at the same time, internet connections via phones are getting better. 4G isn't bad speed. 5G is going to be pretty much the equivalent of a lot of people's home access. So
the bigger picture, though, Ammon, is okay. Here, a phone is the secondary thing. In third world countries, the phone is dead. They don't have a desktop, and that's the future, right? Like, don't just look at it's a big world, man. And phones are ubiquitous. Like,
the research is, Terry, I mean, this isn't even just a first world, third world divide. There are huge tracts of America. I believe for 40% of America, the mobile phone is the #1 device. There are more and more young couples setting up home in the UK and in the US who, when they move,
don't even have a landline.
The first time, they don't bother with a landline because their mobile phone is their lifeline.
Yep. And Lancaster, they're still using 2 tin cans and a piece of string.
Tell you what, my landline rings, I'm like, what the hell was that? Somebody rings me on it. I'm like, what are you ringing me for on this landline?
You tease Grant, but then again, there's this little bubble up north, Hull, which was for a long time the most advanced telecoms anywhere, because the whole town was wired up for free, because Hull University, in developing telecoms, had wired up the whole place. Hull, free telephones, free internet. Everyone was tempted to move there for a while, and then they remembered what Hull was like.
Hey, Hull's quite nice, actually. I've got friends who live in Hull.
You see, it is grim up north if they think Hull's nice. Have you been to,
think about
been to Oxford?
Think about the same thing what Google is doing now in wiring cities in the US with fiber. I mean, it is the same thing, isn't it? It's trying to get connectivity being ubiquitous, so you don't have to think about it. Then connections can be anywhere. It's beyond the phone, and we talked about cars last week, but it's anything. Anything it can be an Internet of Things type stuff. So that's pretty cool, regardless of Hull.
If you're an internet company,
regardless of Hull,
genius, because it went on cheap, overbuilt, wasn't being used. They bought it for next to nothing. It was an investment.
Yeah.
I do think that between those things, even Project Loon, as loony as it is, Project Loon is a fascinating experiment. Whether Project Loon itself would ever be commercial or not, I don't know, but it certainly has brought a lot of teachings which will affect whatever solution does come along. And I do think we are realizing that there is a demand to have the whole world connected, to have this idea of an internet that is global, is freely available to all, and that it creates business and financial opportunities. You don't need to necessarily monetize the internet itself. It does that itself afterwards.
Well, the people that are pushing that are Google and Facebook and guys like that believe there's opportunity in the underserved regions, but it's also an opportunity for advertising on providing services over over internet as well for a lot of these folks. So it's
You know,
interesting.
300 years ago, there must have been cities that were saying, well, we can't afford to pave the city. Is it really worth it? Why would, you know, providing roads and pavement be a good idea? Why should we pay for it?
Yeah, what have the Romans ever done for us?
Enabled cities to do and become, the wealth it brought into those cities, and therefore I think this is a kind of similar thing. I mean, ultimately they are both forms of communication. One was being able to travel in person, the other is negating the need to.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Now I feel all bummed about my Monty Python reference. What have the Romans ever done for us? Well, they did give us the aqueduct.
Yeah.
Which Monty Python was that on?
Life of Brian. So you'd
Yes.
be too young for that, Paul.
Yeah.
No,
Lovely,
don't.
Life of Brian. Yeah.
Stop the flattery. I dropped a joke about tribbles the other day and she got it, so she's not as young as she looks.
All right.
I'm definitely probably older. I'm probably older than most of you, actually. So
She's just good
all the
at
running.
history.
What's
That's
that? Sorry.
it. She's good at using the internet to look up history. That's exactly it.
Oh. Yeah.
That's one of our favorite topics is young people today just don't know their history, like with web marketing.
John, how has the talk generally about rank brain been for you? I imagine that you are A, getting fed up with questions about rank brain, and B, quite amused with the things people have said about it.
Not as much as Penguin.
Oh, no. Penguin and Panda are still issues. And how many years has it been now?
There is no update. There is no timeline.
I think Penguin's just going to jump us like Windows 10, actually.
I'm still waiting for the day that, you know, Webmaster Help is a redirect to some international psychiatry organisation. This is the help you need.
Seriously, that would be so good.
That's not nice. Come on.
No, for the people that get stressed out, like we can get good answers when we go through.
Yeah, they should get a life.
I was seeing people the other day, I mean, they're convinced that poor Gary Illiers is lying to them. You know, he knows everything that's going on with these updates because, you know, Google's a tiny company. You're all in one little office. You can all talk to each other all the time. And it's not like you've got anything going on except Panda and Penguin.
Right.
There's no other project that could possibly be keeping him busy, you know, like his own job.
Yeah, I don't know. At the same time, I still see so many, especially small business sites, that just have trouble with like the basics of marketing. Like, what are you trying to offer to people, and why don't you put that on your website? So, oh,
Yes.
the sketch is coming.
Oh, I missed it. What was it?
Oh.
Okay. I was bouncing.
That's Grant's
Do
Penguin.
you know, I'll tell you what.
I'm very
That
old.
is so true, though. That is so true. I don't know, sometimes you can change just the smallest thing on a website and it can make a huge difference. You know, I think we kind of all sit there and assume that the public know exactly what we mean, even though we don't actually put on our website what we sell, or what we're trying to achieve, or what service we're offering, because, you know, we kind of can't see the wood for the trees a little bit. And I had a bit of an experience this week where something wasn't quite converting as well as I hoped it would, and then just changing a few sentences around and actually putting it into words. This is what we're looking to offer to you, and this is how you can go about achieving that. It suddenly just turned things around. So yeah, I think, you know, generally we're not always the best marketers out there, even though we think we are.
There's times when it's very much like a treadmill, though, isn't it, John? Because it's not like we haven't been putting this information out there In my case, almost 20 years. Terry is as old in the you know, we were in these forums 16, 17 years ago, giving the answers to the same question people are asking today. You'd think that they'd be able to use a search engine.
Well,
Somebody looks all this stuff up.
Like, I don't get it. Why an SEO, when he wants an answer, doesn't go to a search engine first? Like, the first icon on my page, right, for the sites I've looked at, a search engine. It's Google, and it's not even my default engine. So, you know, I search for everything. Like, I don't, even if I think I know something, I verify it using the search engine. Because, you know, I can choose from 10 different opinions.
See, that's why your sound's not working. Google isn't your default engine. Hangouts knows.
But I think
by a microphone.
I don't think it's the fact that people don't know how to use a search engine. It's that I don't think people have actually worked out what they necessarily want people to do when they get to their websites. I think we're so obsessed with reach, SEO, rank. We spent a lot more time actually working on conversion and retention and so on, and the full kind of range of the whole marketing user journey. Then, you know, we wouldn't necessarily have to be quite as obsessed as we are about SEO, really. I mean, I love SEO.
I think SEOs are.
If you're more obsessed with your website and how it works for the user, it always ranks high. Always.
Yeah. So it's kind of a, you know, it's a kind of a win-win situation.
That's
really.
why when a developer says, "I just build good websites and I rank," SEO is BS. I agree with them, because 90% of it is that, and understanding how the thing actually works. Like, I saw questions that we went over in the last Hangout. Like, people don't even understand what happens when Google crawls something. Like, all it's doing is grabbing tags. It doesn't look at pictures. You know, all these questions. Like, hey, understand how it works. And when you ask them, they'll give you the right answer, because you'll have put the question in a way that they can give the correct answer.
I think you need to have a bit more passion, Terry. But apart from that, no, but the key thing is, look, I don't know about you guys, but I fight every day with our product guys to make sure that we're offering a great experience. You know, how far can SEOs go? Yeah, it's great for the small business. You can tell them to change their front page, offer better information, you know, say what they do and everything else. But in big sites, I have to fight for everything that happens on our site. And, yeah, we have a big site, but it's tough to get product to realise that great SEO is great experience. I don't own that part of the equation.
Yeah. They need to understand that the front page of a website isn't where people come in. Somebody asked me, what's the biggest mistake in web marketing, SEO, all the rest of it? And I said, the idea that people come to your homepage as a first visit.
Yeah.
The people who are most likely to come to your homepage are the ones who type in your brand. The people who type in your brand are the ones who have usually already encountered you through articles, through specific stuff. The landing pages are almost always the specific content pages. The page that talks about the service you do, the page that talks about the products you offer that appeal to them, that's their first experience. The worst thing you can do with a homepage is say, welcome to our site, because you're telling yourself that that's where they're coming in, and it ain't.
No. Well, answer the question, and people will like you and share and everything else. That's the challenge. Is when you have a page that stands alone without asking a question. I mean, we got rid of like 5 million pages that were useless. You know, I think that when you look at a small site of 50 pages, probably 20 of them don't deserve to be there anyway. So I think that's always a good exercise.
I just de-indexed like 1.5 million pages, and it had no adverse impact at all on traffic, because they were just kind of dross pages that pretty much, needed to just go, really. Just, looking for a needle in a haystack. So, yeah, that was fun.
What do you define as dross, Dawn?
Just pages, really, that were just kind of, a lot of them were saying the same thing as a lot of the other pages. So, just not really meeting a need any better than than the next page. So
Well,
I
can
don't
you
know,
guys hear me?
multiple candidates for the same query, really, if you like. So yeah.
Hey Fab, what were you saying, Fab?
Hi everyone. Sorry, I was fighting with the light and then the mic. I think that one of the biggest problems is that, especially with agencies that work with established companies, that you may get hired to do SEO, but you have no control over what the experience and product is. And most likely people come to you with a page and say, make it rank, but it's not really how it works. People do actually search for a product, and people want to have a certain experience when they land on the site. And if those two things don't get together, yes, you can do the best to optimize the page and whatever, try to do SEO, but there's a certain point that you will reach at which the product is not working. And what we're doing here, where I am working right now, for example, even within marketing, we have engineers and product people, so we are able to influence or touch with a certain degree of flexibility, every component on the site. So there's no product change that should impact SEO, or there's no any experience problem on the home page or anywhere else on the site where product can stop SEO, because literally sometimes there's so much that you can do if the page is what it is, if the experience is what it is. But still, lots of people do hire a consultant to do the job with having in mind that doesn't change.
This is why I don't pitch for new clients to SEO. People who've never done SEO before, people who've got no clue. I don't actually want most of those customers, because they are so far from a grasp of reality yet.
Pass them to me.
You've got something like a guy who's got a bed and breakfast somewhere in the outskirts of London and wants to be #1 for hotel in London. And I point out to him, look, if I search hotels in London, I want a directory or something that lists lots of them. If I type hotel in London and an actual hotel comes up, it had better be the Savoy or the Ritz. And even then, it's not going to be a great result, but at least I can understand it. It's an iconic hotel in London. If your site comes up for that, Google is broken. 200 engineers are not going to rest. They're not going to be allowed to rest until they fix it so that your site doesn't come up. Because it's a terrible result. That would actually put people off using the search engine that ever put a bed and breakfast as #1 for a hotel in London.
Don't agree. But
I don't know. I mean, look at the services industry. If I should imagine that the local carpenter in wherever Hull is gonna want to and hope to at least achieve some sort of rankings in that area. However big their business, I know that the directories all rank.
There's a different scale. I picked hotel deliberately because hotel, you expect 100 people to be staying there at a time, especially in a London hotel. Carpenter can't deal with 100 customers at a time. Bit of a scale.
Oh, but isn't this a part of, if they understand what I'm looking for, and by they I mean search engines, then they're going to serve up the best results for me. So if I'm actually looking for a hotel and I'm standing in London, the result is going to be different from if I'm searching 3 months out for a specific date for a hotel, or if previously I've searched for smaller hotels in London, they're going to serve up different results. And I think understand the query is going to be better. So sure, Savoy might come up if I've searched for luxury hotels in the previous, query chain, whatever. But the results can be different. For a carpenter, if I'm local, it's going to give me a local result. If I'm out of the country, it's going to give me something different.
Well, and the directories, all the directories always rank for those. Other than on the local pack, the directories always rank because they're just such massive behemoth websites. Anyway.
Yeah, I worked on Yale before time. Yeah. Well, I mean, the local pack is part of the intent-based stuff when search engines know what you're looking for on a local basis. But no, I worked with Yale before it was Haibu, and I mean, the goal was to dominate every single search result. Now, working at homes, we're trying to dominate everything that's real estate intent-based. But it's a challenge for small local realtors, definitely. But if it's a local intent, then Google should be serving up the right stuff for the right people, depending on what they've looked for in the past. And right now, a local realtor doesn't always offer the best experience.
If I've got my little dog with me, I want Google to sort of provide me with maybe dog-friendly places to stay. So based on my previous browsing experience, hopefully it'll know that I've got a Pomeranian, and I will serve up suggestions that perhaps will let me take my dog. So
how creepy is that? No, I mean,
you have to get your Pomeranian to do voice search, and then it does it.
So I can actually.
You really don't want to hear my Pomeranian. She's just so annoying. She just barks all the time at everything, anything, motorbikes, cows, sheep, neighbours, anything. Exactly.
I like doing this on the fly.
Quite good, aren't you? Kind of quite good at drawing pictures.
Why, thank you. Pomeranian, I can't even say it, but small dogs, my specialty.
Yeah. Oh, you're good, yeah. I'll give you that.
Aye, thanks. Aye.
We are at the hour, so we're going to have to wrap up. I know, it disappeared pretty quick. As usual, we'll probably natter in the green room for a little while, but thanks for joining us, everyone. We will be back next week with more Bogus Hangout stuff. Who knows what we'll be talking about? We certainly don't. Take care, everyone.
Been a good chat. Bye,
Thanks,
all.
guys.